There are places where time stands still, places swallowed by silence, only to whisper their stories centuries later. In the heart of Spain's southern deserts lies the haunting riddle of a forgotten town, once alive with laughter, trade, and devotion, until one day it vanished beneath the sand. This is not legend. This is a chronicle of loss, resilience, and the long shadow cast by the desert winds. Where the frontier of Andalusia meets the parched breath of time, a mystery buried beneath centuries of dust has finally begun to speak again. In the province of Almeria, near the forgotten paths of the Tabernas Desert, archaeologists unearthed what was once believed to be myth, the remains of a medieval town consumed by shifting dunes. Its name, whispered in fragmented local tales, was San Juan de las Arenas, a settlement lost in the late 15th century, as if the desert itself demanded payment for humanity's defiance. The ruins revealed streets aligned with astronomical precision, fragments of Moorish ceramics, and walls singed by what seemed to be fire. Centuries ago, this arid land was far from lifeless. During the late Middle Ages, the region thrived under the influence of Al-Andalus, a vibrant crossroads between Muslim, Christian, and Jewish cultures. Water flowed through ingenious channels called acequias, orchards painted the valleys with color, and travelers carried news between Granada and the Mediterranean. San Juan de las Arenas was one such oasis, a frontier settlement built upon the fragile balance between desert and civilization. Yet for those who lived there, the desert was not only background, it was a force. The wind sculpted destinies as much as it shaped the dunes. In chronicles from nearby monastic archives, there are references to the days of sand, when storms dragged entire horizons across the earth. No one could predict when or why these tempests rose, but when they did, they devoured everything in their path. Over time, the town's wells dried, its crops turned to dust, and its people began to vanish, some migrating north, others swallowed by the advancing sea of dunes, then silence. For 500 years, San Juan de las Arenas became a ghost written only in rumors. It was not until the late 20th century that the legend resurfaced. In 1978, during a cinematic expedition through Almeria's Badlands, ironically, the very landscapes once used to film westerns, a director noticed something unusual: traces of carved stone protruding from a dune. Months later, archaeologists returned. As they brushed away centuries of sand, they uncovered what would become one of Spain's most enigmatic discoveries. Beneath layers of compacted earth rested the outlines of homes, pottery, and a chapel oriented toward the setting sun. The sand had preserved these relics like an amber womb, untouched and waiting. The findings launched decades of study. Radiocarbon analysis linked the site to the 14th and 15th centuries. Arabic inscriptions hinted at cooperation between Christian settlers and Moorish artisans, an echo of coexistence before the final unification of Spain under Ferdinand and Isabella. But the most haunting revelation came from skeletal remains found near a collapsed well. Their positions suggested sudden disaster. Some speculated an earthquake had loosened the dunes, triggering a sandstorm that engulfed the town in hours. Others believed it was human abandonment, war, famine, or simply fear. The truth may forever rest beneath the remaining dunes. The visual contrast is staggering. Ochre sands folding endlessly around fragments of stone, doorways staring into the void, an ancient bell frozen mid-burial. The story of San Juan de las Arenas is not simply about destruction, but about memory, how human traces survive, even when all else is erased. Every excavation layer tells a fragment of that resilience. Cooking vessels still containing grains of ancient wheat, hand-carved wooden icons preserved by dryness. The last records of a people who refused to surrender to oblivion. Today, the site remains closed to the general public, protected from both time and tourism. But its impact endures. In the laboratories, in the whispered voices of historians tracing the medieval heartbeat of Spain's frontier. For the villagers around Tabernas, the rebirth of this lost city brought both pride and unease. The desert had given something back, but also reminded them, nothing we build is truly permanent. Some nights, when the wind swells and blows across the ruins, locals say you can hear faint chimes, perhaps the chapel's bell stirring within its sandy tomb. Scientists dismiss it as natural acoustics, but others see it as the earth remembering what it once held. For the archaeologists who stare down at cracked mosaics or half-intact amphorae, every artifact carries a human heartbeat. It's not just stones and dust. It's the echo of water once flowing, children playing, trades echoing under the Andalusian sun. The rediscovery of San Juan de las Arenas reshaped how historians view Spain's relationship with the desert. It reminded them that landscapes considered barren today were once centers of life and innovation. It blurred the line between myth and reality, as if the past had been hiding just beneath the skin of the present, waiting for a gust of truth to reveal it. In the quiet aftermath of each excavation season, archaeologists reflect on an unsettling symmetry. The same sun that once nourished life now burns its memory. The same sands that took the city now protect its story. Beneath every ruin lies a message about impermanence, about humanity's attempt to outlast nature and the inevitable return to dust. Perhaps that is the true mystery of San Juan de las Arenas. Not how it died, but how it continues to speak, even buried through silence. Our time on earth is as brief as a footprint in shifting sands. Yet, like the people of this lost Spanish city, we leave behind imprints, civilizations, stories, and dreams carried by the wind, waiting for someone in the far future to brush away the dust and listen. Would you like me to adapt this narrative into a YouTube voiceover script with scene direction and pacing, for example, cinematic shots, music cues, and narration rhythm?